Right, good morning. So I've been reading about Sir Percy Hobart, 79th Armoured Division. That's their logo. This is the man in question. And he had a sort of regiment, battalion, whatever, of funnies. And these were the sort of weird and wonderful contraptions that they used in the D-Day invasion of Normandy. And yeah, he was in charge of all of those sorts of things. Great book, got some good pictures in it, but generally it's about him and how all of that was organised. So I've been reading about that. The other thing I've been reading up on is Churchill Tanks, because a lot of his funnies, as they were called, were based around Churchill Tanks, and I've not really built one, so there's always a first, isn't there? So I've read this. This is Churchill Tanks by Tankcraft series. This is by Dennis Oliver. British Army, Northwest Europe, 1944-45. And this book on Osprey, from Osprey, always good books. Mark J. Bannerman, and again, modelling the Churchill tank. And without further ado, what am I going to build? I'm going to build this. This is one of Hobart's funnies. This is a Churchill MK.III Type D carpet layer, and as you can see from this brilliant piece of graphic on the front, it had a big spool with this carpet on it. The idea being that this would roll out over soft ground and whatever, and create a track that other tanks could follow without getting bogged down and whatnot. This is a model by AFV Club. In case you're interested, it's their AF35274. It's in 1/35. Around the side there's some interesting graphics. It's one of those QD code things there. I hope you might be able to pick that up if you're interested in tracking this down. Some good pictures of a built kit. End of the box got some repeats of the front cover, lid art, all that sort of thing. More pictures of the model. And I think the next thing to do is really open the box and have a look. So if you bear with me a second, I'll come back to you. I have actually opened this box before to have a quick look. You know what it's like when you get a new kit, and you just can't really not open it, can you? Unless you're gonna put it in the stash and hang on to it for months and months and months, which is pretty much what happened to this. But I did open the box. Instructions, we'll come back to those. The parts come in pretty much, I would say, individual sprues, but there's a couple of sprues in each of the bags. And it's really good quality moulding. I think the best thing to do is I'll unbag all of the sprues, because I'm going to build this, and we'll have a look at what's in the kit and all of that sort of thing. Well, I lowered the camera so that I could get a better shot of each of the sprues in turn. So this is the first sprue, I think. Yeah, well, we'll go with this. This is sprue A, and this has got parts of the hull and parts, yeah, I mean, this is basically parts of the hull. Now, I did look at the parts. They're quite well moulded. There is an element of flash around it, but that may well be due to the age of the kit. I don't know when this was done. 2010. All right, so 14 years ago. I think this was made round about that time. I bought this previously loved from our favourite online auction site, but yeah, that's sprue A. Right, SPRU B. Happen to have upside down. Not that it really makes any difference. Obviously, again, these are more whole parts to the tank. Again, there's small elements of flash around the sprue, but nothing too serious. I looked for ejector pins, and there's some quite hefty ejector pins and ejector pin marks, but nothing, as far as I can see, on the surface of the moulding, and the moulding's quite crisp, so it's quite nice mouldings and stuff. So really quite nice, and really some quite good details here of hinges and rivets and whatnot. So really quite nice moulding. This is SPRU C. I haven't unbagged it, mainly because I wanted to show you. There's a sprue of clear plastic there. Again, having sort of opened it up, trying to get that out, and the clear parts, this is quite neat. I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it's actually sealed against the edge of the weld of the bag, which is quite interesting. Let's get rid of this bag first of all. Obviously, when you're opening the bags, make sure there's nothing loose in there. So this is SPRU C. This is the side of the hull. Is it the sponsons? You could say. But again, really nice moulding. Ejector pin marks are on the blind sides, as far as I can tell, so that's okay. And you know, all in all, very good mouldings. Really quite pleased as well, so that's quite good. We'll have a quick look at the clear parts. This is SPRU H. So you've got a number of clear parts in there. I know there's periscopes and stuff like that in the hull, so it'd be interesting to see exactly where each of these parts go in relation to the build. So we'll keep these parts protected in a bag and move on to the next sprue. So there's two SPRU Ds, clearly because of a number of parts. So one of the things that this has got is working suspension, which is quite a sort of neat idea, I think. And obviously with the Churchill, where it's got a number of wheels along the bottom of the chassis here, there's a lot of parts in the build for the suspension. Again, looking at this, no ejector pin marks. Is very minor flash. In fact, the flash, I'm sure I saw some, but obviously can't see it now. But I couldn't see anything that really caused a problem. Oh, there it is. There's a very minor piece of flash there, which isn't actually against any of the part. So yeah, really nicely moulded. Be careful with that, don't want to lose any of the parts. Well, these are SPRU E, and there's two of these as well, and fairly complex additional parts there. looks like parts of the hull there. There's the air intakes there, machine gun there, other quite neat little parts, and also it looks like spare parts to the tracks. Having said that, I do know that there were spare tracks fitted to the side of the hull, so, or bolted to the side of the hull, so it's part to do that. But again, very nice moulding, very nice. If this is an example of an AFV kit, it's really good. Perfectly honest with you, I've never built an AFV kit before. And this is SPRU F, and as you can see, it's parts of the turret. Really quite nicely moulded. I'm not sure about, there's actually marks there. They look like ejector pin marks, but I'm not sure if that's not part of the design. I'll come back to you on that when we get round to building it. But yeah, again, excellent pieces of moulding. And one of the things I spotted along these edges was this sort of weld marks along the lines there. So when that all goes together, and if I am right, that's these two panels here will go onto this rear section here. So yeah, very nice moulding. I don't know if there's another panel that goes onto this area here, which would hide this mark. Until I get onto the build, I know there's people out there who'll be jumping up and down at the screen going, yeah, whatever, you know. But yeah, that's F. In the bag with F was a little bag of springs, and that's to activate the suspension. I have been warned that this is quite a complicated build. Right, I have gone out of sequence now, mainly because there's a lot of sprues, and this happens to be the next one. This is SPRU S, and one of the things I have found is that these tie rods, which is what these are, at the rear of this particular tank, there's these air intakes for deep water, when they came off of the landing ships and onto the beach. This was to help with the exhaust gases coming off the tank and being above the waterline. And I've noticed that this particular part, because this is one of the things they had these to help hold up these exhaust parts, that's actually broken there. So that's a bit of a shame, but hey, you know, it's been in the box and bounced around for ages. This sprue I'll have to put to one side and make sure that all of this is safe, or indeed take these parts off the sprues and put those in a safe place. But apart from that little faux pas on the part of probably storage, there's a little bit of flash here, but nothing of any consequence. And then loads and loads of tiny little greeblies, fire extinguishers, lights of some description. I think that's got a little bit of flash on that one there, which is a bit of a, but that's nothing of any consequence. Really nice. I'm really quite impressed with the mouldings. Right, these are sprues AB, and just to watch out for. This part was actually rolling loose in the bag, and it's off of the sprue there. There's one there as well, and I think this is because they stand upright. That's interesting. It looks like that's upright. That, you know, that way, which indicates to me that where they could have had that sideways on the sprue and a bit of slide moulding, this is done pre-slide moulding. I've not seen anything. That's interesting. Although actually on the last sprue in the exhaust pipes, they are slide moulded. So anyway, that's one. This is the spool where the carpet rolls. Building that's going to be interesting, and the various support arms that hold the roll up in. So that's interesting. Make sure I don't lose that part. And so we're nearly there. So this is sprue L, and this is part of the gun, and the coupler there on the top for the top of the turret, and this is for the really nicely moulded spigot mortar weapon that this particular tank had. And that is the, if I'm not mistaken, that's the flaming gun at the front of the hull. There's some very, very tiny parts here. In fact, I thought that part there had a part missing, but it is there. Gee. Okay, so that's that. One more sprue to go. Right, and finally, he says, in terms of sprues, this is 2 of SPRU M. Have to be very careful with these because there's all these tiny parts on here. Again, part of the air intake, I think, on the side, and various parts here and here, part of the suspension assembly for the track mechanisms. So be very careful with those. And again, no flash and no short shots or anything like that. So really good quality control. I'm going to go through the instructions. The instructions are really quite comprehensive, but I'm just going to go through just a quick step-by-step, else this video will go on for hours. Generally speaking, it's all in Japanese, possibly. Has a pretty good setup. Illustrations over here for the various logos in the instructions, methods for applying decals, and a color list. And the color list is quite interesting in that it's in guns, hobby color, Mr. Color, spray, Humbrol, Revel, and life color. So probably reflects its age. Some interesting pictures of variants of the Churchill tank and various options, including the carpet laid down here at the bottom. Quite fancied building one of these ones with the bridge, but they're enormous, and I think they're quite expensive. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe. The instructions are quite neatly set out into various sections. Section 1, putting these sponsons together, or preparing the sponson halves, and then this is putting the sponson halves together with the suspension units. So you got this part D5 and the springs, and this part D6 and the springs. So putting all of these parts and getting the right part, D5s and the D6, getting those in the right positions on the sponsons, and then putting the two bits together here to make up this run, and this run goes along here, and this is part to the this is assembles to the sponson and creates the suspension of the wheels for the tracks. And then you put on section 5, put on all these wheels, and the thing that's going through my head at the moment is paint, when to paint, and then assemble this. I think this is going to be the time to paint these sponsons and get all the wheels and stuff, but I'm not sure. As we go, we'll have a look, we'll have a more detailed look. Then again, putting the drive sprockets on front and rear, and the various parts of the sides details of the sponsons, including one of those spare tracks that go on the side. So it'd be interesting to fit a spare track there. It's a shame that spare track isn't molded in plastic, whereas the track is actually a rubberized thing. I didn't show you that. It comes in a bag, and these are rubber tracks. I wonder if it's worth investigating getting plastic tracks. Take forever to put together though. So again, more detail on the sponsons all the way through section 11 and section 12, where these side sponsons are then put to the base of the hull and the rear of the hull, and then the whole top, the various hatches and things. Then the various guns. So you have the Beezer machine gun, which is fitted there, through the port and all of that sort of thing, and then the top and the front and all of that go onto that assembly. So quite a complex build up to this point. And again, more details onto the hull, handles, etc., hatch handles and stuff. Plus these look like exhausts. They go onto the rear there, and further panels there to go on. If I'm not mistaken, this looks like another time in which you might want to start thinking about painting this and weathering it and all of that sort of thing. Might be later, I don't know, but you know, as I go through this in detail, try and decide points of paint. Again, additional parts onto the hull, the various panels, and armour, and then the air intakes in section 21 to go either side, and the sorry, these are the exhausts, I believe. I've sort that, yeah, I think they're the exhausts. They might be the air intakes. No, they're the air intakes. Yeah, and these are the wading options here with the tie rod, so that go between the two. Might want to replace those, I think, maybe with some wire or something. Yeah, I have to have a look at that. So again, yeah, exhaust, and then again the air intakes here, sort of the wading equipment. That, I mean, it's going to be an interesting looking machine. And then assembly of the spool for the carpet. Interestingly, it has these parts here. These parts here are actually on the inside of the lid, made of the cardboard from the lid. So make sure that if you've got this kit, don't lose that, because you're going to have to fabricate something like that if you don't. Now, this is where a bit of a contentious thing. It's saying that the wood strips here and how to make up the carpet. So there's been some question of whether or not the wooden option is correct. On D-Day, I believe they used metal poles, so they may not. So anyway, we'll look at that in terms of the build, and then it goes on to assemble all of that, and then we're getting on to the hull. So first of all, the spigot mortar assembly there, onto the front, this piece of the hull, and there's an option there. So that's an interesting one. You can either, I think the option is having the spigot up or in a firing position like this. Again, we'll look at that in more detail as we go. And then it's the assembly of the turret and the commander's coupler and all of that, the hatch covers and stuff. And then the final sort of full assembly, the final bits and pieces there, including one of the spigot mortar charges, which is interesting. Overall body colour, they're saying dark green, and the rear of the kit, the instruction shows the kit breakdown. That's what I was looking at. Yeah, there's indications on here as to where the various decals go. Interesting build. What can I say? I'm looking forward to this. I hope that wasn't too long and boring, but that's the next project. So if you're new to my channel, like and subscribe, and you'll keep up with the build on this sort of excellent piece of kit. All right, thanks for watching, thanks for listening to me drivel on, and sorry it took so long, but there's a lot of parts. So I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.